How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in today. This is episode 18 of Mail and Hobby Talk. And we have a lot of fun topics today. I'm going to be covering the NBA playoffs a little bit here in the first half. We're going to be getting into sports card gambling with Repacks. That's going to be our second topic. And then we'll wrap things up with one of my favorite threads on the hobby boards. And of course, I have a ton of mail to show you. It's been a little while. So we got these very large stacks of cards here that we'll be going over as well. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. Talk about the playoffs. Yeah, my Nuggets got knocked out, unfortunately. Great series overall. I did actually think that this year was going to be tough for the Nuggets just because pulling off a back-to-back championship is relatively tough. Or, I mean, it's really tough. Let's just put it that way. I think the last time we saw it was the Warriors. Was it 2016 and 2017? I may be wrong about that, but that was the last time we saw a back-to-back championship. There's been more throughout the history of the NBA as well. But yeah, disappointing, yes. We blew a 12-point lead at halftime, but you could see kind of the wear and tear happening because to be honest, it's like going from last season to where we played really well. You know, we had everybody healthy, to this season where you had Murray out a lot. Murray, I was actually struggling with like a hamstring issue throughout the entire playoffs. I mean, he probably was playing hurt last year too. I'm sure KCP was hurt, and I'm not saying that to make excuses for the team or anything like that. But you had varying levels of injuries happening. We had a different bench this year. I just don't think it was as strong a bench. Last year we had like Bruce Brown, we had Jeff Green, who did pretty well, and you know, he was one of those veteran guys that can help out a little bit in other ways. It's not just scoring, or you know, he played great defense and stuff like that. So this year we had a different roster. We played Christian Brown a lot, who did great, I thought. Peyton Watson did really well against the Lakers, I thought, at least. I mean, I think they took him out of the rotation and we put Justin Holiday in to replace some of that defense with more offense, which I don't know. It's a varying results. I'm not going to say one way or another whether it would have worked out better with Peyton Watson, because we don't know. But regardless, yeah, they fell to the Timberwolves. So now, coming up to these current series that are happening right now, where we had the Mavs and the Timberwolves and the Celtics and the Pacers. I've watched all these games so far. Well, there's only been one game, but I was watching some of the last series too. Mainly the Pacers-Knicks series. That was a fun one to watch. I did watch a little bit of the Celtics-Cavs series as well. Don't really have a huge predictions. I kind of thought like once the Timberwolves moved past us, they'd have a pretty easy time with the Mavs, but last night they did lose that game. That was interesting. I thought the Pacers had it in game one until they blew their lead versus Celtics. So regardless, it's going to be an interesting series. But when we're talking about more cards, because that's more what my channel is all about, I thought it would be interesting to bring up the whole Anthony Edwards situation, where we do know that his cards have been pretty hyped these past couple months. People are going so far as to call him the next Jordan, which I think is ridiculous. But we hear this every year. You know, if it's not a rookie, it's going to be the next Jordan. They're going to be the next LeBron, whatever. It's a guy who's doing well either in the regular season or playoffs. So we see that all the time. Ever since I've been collecting cards, even in the 90s, we saw that happening. This guy's the next Jordan, you know. Is he? Probably not. Is he a great player? Yes. But I wanted to point out this game, and this is the game 7 versus the Nuggets, played last Sunday. We held him to 25% field goal percentage, 6 to 24 shots. I'm not a stats guy. I'm not going to try to go into this as talking about stats or anything to prove why he is not the next Jordan or whatever. I'm not. I just want to point this out that I think a lot of people have this idea that they just listen to the media. They've just listened to people pumping his cards on Instagram and other platforms, right? Again, is he a great player? Yes. Does he do other things besides shoot the ball that we're not seeing in these stats? But we figured him out. Here's the Mavs game from last night. I'm actually recording this on Thursday. Not sure when I'll put it up, but anyway, this is stats from last night. 6-16. I watched the game, so we don't need to like focus too hard on these stats, but I'm just bringing it up to kind of talk through this. I felt like he took some really quick threes last night in the last quarter that would have been great if they went in. It's kind of like a hero ball thing. Maybe he's just overly confident. He hit a bunch too, but he took some what I would think is more ill-advised threes. I'm not saying that's the reason they lost, but I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit. All this is just to say the guy's good. But calling him the next Jordan is maybe goes a little bit too far. And that's really my point here is when you hear this guy's the next this guy's the next that, being a card collecting channel, I thought I'd bring this up because you really got to take a step back and just say, probably not. How many generational players are really playing at this moment? Now, I'm a little bit biased, and I think Jokic is one of the few generational players at the moment. Could Anthony Edwards be at some point? Yes. Is he there now? No, I don't think so. So anyway, just wanted to go over that real quickly. If you disagree with me and you think he's the best thing that's ever stepped foot on the court since Jordan, prove me wrong in the comments. Again, I'm not a stats guy. I just bring this up just as a talking point. So we'll jump over to mail, and I do have my 3 stacks. So I never really point this out, but I usually do PC players. I do normal just cards that I picked up mostly are going to be basketball cards. And then I do vintage as well because I've gotten really into vintage these past couple years. But we're going to go ahead and start with the just NBA stack, as I call it here. In basketball cards mainly. I think I do have a baseball card in here. Interestingly enough, I buy very little baseball, but yeah, we'll get started with this stack. So RJ Hampton. I can't even remember what this card went for. This is his rookie card, 2020, 2021. Obviously, the pandemic boom had a lot of influence on card prices at the time. I have been going back to prior years because I kind of stopped my Nuggets team builds for Prism specifically because they just got crazy. So I've been going back and picking up that stuff. So grab this one for like $11. Who knows what it was on release or like during late 2020 or 2021. I bet you 10 times that price, probably. Haven't been going after a lot of golds, but I want to put some Mojo team sets together, so you're going to see those quite a bit. The reason I haven't been going after golds is they've just gotten pricey. But here is a gold, although it's not Prism, it's Select, of Alex English. This is from 1718 Select, before Select started more or less sucking, in my opinion. Even prior to like when Select went retail, I don't know, I just can't get into it anymore. It's just overdone and too many parallels. I mean, you could say that for pretty much any releases, but go back a number of years. I think these cards are great. These signatures, I don't know exactly if there's a name for it's just like Select signatures or whatever. But yeah, the gold out of 10, awesome card. We'll keep moving kind of faster here because I got a lot to go through. We've got this, what is it? Topps Pristine. Is that right? Yeah, these are Topps Pristine. The die cut card of Juwan Howard. Needed this one for the binder. And then here's an upgrade to my 96 rubies of Sarunas I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. I just know how to pronounce it. I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just going to tell you his first name. But anyway, this is an upgrade. This is the Rubies out of 96 Skybox, 96, 97. I had one that was like pulled probably more recently. It had a bunch of like pieces of the card behind it. It was probably stuck to it. So that was an upgrade. I grabbed a second copy of this Bright Stith because it was from the same seller. I'm going to get that one in the binder. Here's a Mike Miller from 2007-08 Topps Chrome, the X-Fractor out of 50. And I'll grab these occasionally. I go after rookies mainly, but Mike Miller did spend some time on the Nuggets. I always liked him as a player. And here's kind of a big one. And the reason this is a big one is because this completes my gold Prism set from 2015-16, who you probably know Jokic's rookie year. And if you've seen me on Instagram, you know, I have that in a binder. This is the last one I needed for that team set. I had to pay $100 for it, which is, I think, is kind of ridiculous, but 15-16 Prism Golds have gotten kind of hot. I'm just happy to grab it and be able to throw it in the binder. That's a big pickup for me, quote unquote big. We've got Prism Mojo, and I think this one 21-22 Jamal Murray. Again, going after those again, a little bit heavier now this year. We got a Bowman Chrome. I think this is 07-08. Is that right? Bowman Chrome Gold, Marcus Camby. We've got another Jamal Murray Prism Mojo. This one being out of 22-23. I thought this was a great pickup. Gallinari. I should probably have this in my Gallinari or PC player stack. And anyway, this is a nice flawless patch from 16-17, the green out of 5 emerald version. Great looking card. We got a Prism Fast Break Mojo, Jamal Murray. Was that 23, 24 maybe? Could be wrong about that. Anyway, we'll keep moving. Michael Porter Jr., Prism Mojo. Yeah, I'm picking these up because they're just a lot cheaper than they've have been. And I'm not really focusing on golds right now, as I said. But 23, 24 on this guy. Pretty cool card. Or Earl Boykins, Nuggets legend, in my opinion, at least. This is out of that Topps Finest. These are unlicensed, you know, back when they came out with the unlicensed Topps Finest return for basketball, and it had a bunch of guys in suits. It looks like he's actually maybe playing basketball on this one, even though they've probably photoshopped whatever team he was with. But yeah, kind of cool to get an Earl Boykins. I think these releases, you know, and then the upcoming Topps release could be cool if they have signers that you haven't seen in a while. Otherwise, the unlicensed stuff, I'm not all that hyped on, to be honest. But we'll see how it turns out. I got another one here, another Earl Boykins, actually, when he was playing. And this is 06-07. And this is the last one I needed for the black refractor set for my team set, for my Nuggets team set. And these black refractors were out of 99, if you can see that there. All right, I got a team bag of 85 star sealed team bag. I find when I can pick these up for cheapish, I'll go after these. I think I actually have 2 of these now. I think the one that I have now is opened though. But yeah, the sealed star stuff is cool. Really excited to add this one, Charles Barkley auto. Been after one for a while. Saw a guy on Instagram selling this one, and this is out of 2021 flawless. And I go after like Hall of Fame autos. And prior to Panini signing Barkley, you didn't have a ton out there, so it's cool that you can get your hands on this kind of stuff nowadays. All right, moving into the last couple cards here. Somebody had listed a bunch of Ty Lawson 101s, and I was able to grab 2. This first one is Court Kings. This one's out of 13-14. And I think it's just like the hollow foil. It's like the rainbow hollow foil. I don't know if you can see it there. I think that's really the only thing that makes this 101. Still a cool card. And then we've got this one I love. This is the Prestige from 14-15 Panini Prestige, which back then I would buy this stuff from like Target. they had these premium looking like boxes. I remember they were really long and they felt real premium. I'm like, wow, I didn't know they sold high end at Target. Well, yeah, I mean, years later we know that Prestige was, I mean, even at the time, probably people that were more than knew that it wasn't necessarily high end, but I tried to go after this stuff a lot in that season, especially chasing like Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker, if those of you familiar with the hot rookies of that time. But yeah, this is the 101 variation of this card. Oh yeah, you can see right here. I always thought these are cool though. They've got that like foil, hollow foil background to them. Really cool one. Next up, we have this kaleidoscope of Nikola Jokic. This is from 23-24 Prism. And I thought this design was like really nice, but specifically the mojo like just works like super well with this kaleidoscope pattern, at least in my opinion. So yeah, that's one of the only Jokic cards I've grabbed this year. And I was trying to grab a raw one. You know, again, it's mojo out of 25. I was trying to grab a raw one forever and I kept getting outbid. And then I saw this PSA 9. I was like, you know, I'll probably go for a lot more. But I threw in, I want to say like $65 bid and ended up getting it, which is right around the price of the raw. So can't complain about that. And then we got this 96 Topps season's best out of Topps in Fuego of Shaquille O'Neal. Now, why did I grab this one? Not Nugget stuff. The reason being is that I'm trying to put together a video that's going over the 96 releases, specifically Topps and Topps Chrome. And so this is one of the cooler inserts, at least to me. And so I wanted to grab a copy so that I could come out with that video at some point. I mean, it's my goal. Sometimes my goals for making these videos fall short because I just run out of time or forget about it or something. But I did grab that one. The Topps Chrome version of this is not as cool either. This one's actually pretty neat in the parallel design that they have. Let me take it out of that plastic. But it had this little wave pattern to it or whatever. And then I did tell you there's going to be one baseball card, so that's this 93 Topps of Derek Jeter rookie card. This is what I do a lot of times. I grab this one and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to be able to get this one for probably $10 or whatever, because that was the going rate. Like, let's see what else the seller has. And he had this Jeter rookie card, which I don't have. And I do have some baseball. I actually got more into baseball as a kid. And then also when I came back into the hobby in like 2010 or so, I was going after some baseball cards that I remembered from being a kid before I got back into like basketball again. So anyway, kind of cool to have that one. Despite it being a PSA 5, it was like literally like $5. So I can't complain there. All right, let's jump back over to our next topic. And we're going to be talking about repacks. Now, go watch this video from Dan the Card Man. He's titled this one, The Biggest Threat to Sports Card Collecting. He's talking specifically about repacks. And what he's talking to in this video is the fact that at some point we would imagine that there's going to be some form of government regulation happening with sports card gambling probably as a whole, but even these repacks as well. Basically the repacks that we're seeing nowadays, I mean, stuff on like Whatnot is huge. Yeah, you'll see the whole sports card things pop up there again. Essentially, a lot of these cards that they're buying from shows or off eBay or from various other places, right? And what's happening is they're paying over comps for those. And so it's created a little bit of a boom in the secondary market, which is great. But the reason they're paying over comps is because they're just trying to get as much as they can. I mean, you see the same thing on Fanatics Live. They do a lot of breaks on here, but they also do a lot of repacks. I mean, some of these channels will probably move specifically to repacks. And so here's the problem that comes up. They're buying all these cards. It's such a mass quantity and paying over comps a lot of times. To what Dan is talking about in his video is that what if the government does come in and regulate this at some point, which you would think they would probably do, because at this point it's just unregulated gambling essentially. Well, you've got the guys paying over comps for cards, a lot of cards that people don't really want. They're filler, right? So like the PSA 9 rookies from 5 years ago or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever the case may be, base rookie cards that they're throwing into these repacks that people are going to get and probably just end up selling back to another repacker. It keeps the market afloat for now, but when this stuff gets regulated, what happens to the prices of those cards? Because there's not necessarily a collector base for a lot of that stuff. It could be considered quote unquote junk slabs, right? So it is a big concern. And yeah, you know, you're going to see this a lot at shows. I've talked to a lot of people actually that have been to a lot more shows than I have. And, you know, I've seen this a little bit. I haven't been to shows since like last year, but people buying like bulk graded cards. I mean, that's mainly what they're going after to repack them. So what happens when the bottom falls out? Is that good for the hobby as a whole? Probably not. And it just goes back to the whole gambling thing. Is that good for the hobby or not? In my opinion, it's not. A lot of this stuff is unregulated. What happens when it does become regulated? Because you've got companies like Fanatics who are going all in on the gambling side of things, you know, with their Fanatics Live and the Hobby Rip Night stuff, which is geared a lot of times towards kids. And it's really, that's again promoting gambling, because you're gambling on these packs of cards that are a lot of money. And even if it's the parents buying it for their kids or whatever, is that getting them addicted to gambling as their first exposure to the card market? Would it be better off that we get them into team collecting or player collecting, you know, like it was more back in the day? I don't know the answers to this, but I think it's an interesting topic. And I did want to bring that video up from Dan. I thought it was a really great one. So do go watch that video. If you have any comments on the situation, I'm going to be going over the Hobby Boards thread on this topic later. Go post there, or post in my comments if you want to as well. Okay, let's jump back into mail. We're going to get through this next stack a little bit quicker because it's not as much. But yeah, this is my, like, as I call it, like PC player stack. So we got some Gallinari here, Lava from 2019 Revolution. These are out of 10. PSA 10, which, you know, that's fine. I don't necessarily go after him just because they're 10s, but I saw that card pop up. Thought it was a cool one. We got a Gallinari Choice. This is Crown Royale Choice. I think this, I want to say it's 14, 15, no, 13, 14. And these are like die cut. These are weird die cuts. A lot of people had varying thoughts about these. Given they're like this pyramid shape or whatever. But I grabbed it for my binder. I thought it was a cool card. This is a pretty neat parallel. This is Donruss 2122. This is like the infinite parallel. And, you know, what was it? Probably $2. It's out of 10. So that one will be going in the binder. Here's another one for the binder. This is a Jersey Kings from the first year of Panini. I think this is 0910. And it was the, I guess they call them Ruby parallel because of this little stamp. These were numbered out of 25. That was another couple dollar pickup. And I don't show off a lot of McDice. I have a large PC of McDice, but I don't buy a lot of his cards nowadays. I guess I got spoiled back in the day because I bought them for so cheap. And I just feel like there's a lot more collectors of him nowadays, which is great, but not necessarily for me. I guess just given that I was picking this stuff up for cheap. But this is a refractor out of Stadium Club Chrome from way back in 90. I think this is 99 2000. And so they did have a first day issue of these Chrome cards that was out of 25. I do have that one. Maybe someday I'll show off my binder of his. And I just need that for like the binder to place in front of the first day issue, essentially. We got 95 metal. Probably my favorite year of metal, actually. And this one was graded a 9. Now I have this card multiple times over, but I saw it come up as a graded copy, and you know, why not? I'm trying to like show you this design if possible here. It's fine. Pick up one of these cards though. Pick up any card from the side. They're cheap. They're just really cool looking. It has, like, if you look at the background, it's metallized, but the players are not. I just thought that was kind of cool. Again, probably my favorite year on metal. I got this 2014 Prism Gary Harris rookie card. Yay, PSA 10. Again, I see this stuff pop up and I'm like, throw in $5. You know, I don't chase grades really, and I have this one multiple times over, but you know, I have a decent collection of like PSA 10 Gary Harris and Gallinari cards at this point, so if I can grab them for like under $10, I usually will. Pretty cool parallel here. This is Panini Illusions from 2020-21. I don't know the parallel. I think in Revolution they call this circle stuff groove. I can't keep up with parallels, guys, so you can name that one if you know what it is. I just thought it looked nice. Here's another Gary Harris card that's actually kind of cool to grab, and not just because it's PSA 10, because it is jersey numbered. So this is the bronze variation of, or sorry, I guess they call it copper, out of 1415 Select. And I have the jersey number tie-dye of this, which was out of 25. So it was cool to grab the jersey number copper parallel. Bonus is PSA 10, but again, I would have grabbed that regardless of the grade. And I got another McDice, surprisingly, and another one behind it. So that's kind of rare for me to have any McDice at all, to be honest. This is 0304 X-Fractor out of Topps Chrome. Cool card. These are out of 220. Last up, this is the MVP promotion parallel of McDice. Out of what year was this? Is this 99? I want to say it's 99 Topps. Because they did these MVP promotion. I'm not familiar with it. They were out of 100 basically because you could redeem 100 copies and you would send it in and you would get an actual card if they met whatever the details on the back went over what they had to achieve to get your card redeemed. But a lot of people collect these because they're hard to find, because most people probably didn't know what these were, maybe threw them away or redeemed them and we no longer have the card. So a lot of people do chase these and just consider them as an out of 100 parallel. So cool to add that one. I needed that one. And actually, I think somebody on Instagram reached out to me about that. All right, let's go back and just cover the last thing that I wanted to go over, and that's a couple hobby boards topics. Now, every Mail and Hobby Talk episode, I'm going to be covering some hobby boards topics. Please go get signed up, thehobbyboards.com. I did have an issue with the site for the past couple days, actually earlier this week, where the SSL cert expired. So if you are a current Hobby Boards member and we're getting an error message, it's corrected now. It just took my hosting company a couple days to fix it, which it should just be an easy fix. I probably need to get those renewed like a couple days before they expire. But anyway, I'm going off on a little tangent there. I'm going to cover two hobby boards topics today. This one goes over Fanatics Live, the gambling culture and the sports card hobby. As you can see, you might have to squint. Open this one up July 7th, 2023. So this has been ongoing for a while. A lot of great replies in here talking about the sports card gambling culture now that Fanatics is going to be pushing really hard, that other people are pushing really hard on platforms like Whatnot, and what we went over already earlier in this video with the Repack situation. So this is a good one to check out. I just wanted to throw it out there because I mentioned, head on over there and let's get your thoughts on it. I have some videos that I linked in here on repacking. If you want to get another perspective from other YouTubers on the situation, this is a really good one. Let's see, James Cards FC. And then I do link to the Dan the Card Man video that we just talked about. But on a more positive note, please check out all of the different forums, whether it's basketball, baseball, etc. All of them have a rolling Mailday thread. And I'm just pointing out basketball because we're on page 24 now. Some amazing pickups in here. And this is basically just, it's like Instagram. Go post your cards that you've picked up. We even have a thumbs up. So let me show you. We even have a little way to like the post. So you can see these ones I've already liked. It will show you who's liked your post down in the bottom here. But if you're used to social media, that's just another little addition. This works great on the phone too. So hobby boards, if you're not already signed up, will work on your phone. Yes, it's a little more old school than your traditional like Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but I love it for long form discussion. I've talked about this again and again, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just check out the stuff that people are posting on here. And this isn't stuff that you click like and then keep scrolling and never see again. You can come back to this thread and check out all the cool stuff in here, continue to update like pickups that you have. It's just a really good time. But yeah, some great cards. Here's one from Abra recently, Kevin Garnett, awesome like Kevin Garnett auto that he picked up, as well as some parallels from the 90s and 2000s. I guess that's a 2000s SP, Upper Deck SP patch there. That's cool as well. All right, let's jump back into our last stack. This is going to be a bit of a long one. I wanted to save it for last, but it is my vintage pickups. Those of you who know, the last couple of years I've been going after vintage stuff. Pretty heavy, and not your vintage like baseball or even basketball for that matter. I've been going after non-sports quite a bit. And I was recently introduced to this set. There's a channel out there called Collector Not Hoarder. Newer channel, but he goes over a lot of these vintage non-sports cards, which I think are really great. And these Liebig, I think they're called Liebig. They had them in various countries that they came out with. It's actually a meat extract. I was going to look up exactly what that meant, but I think it's like those bullion cube things that you get nowadays. It's some kind of like extract from meat that is preserved in like a can or something. I think that's essentially what it was. But what these are, or they're called trade cards. So they're advertising the product, but they would also have like various like well-known political figures or musical composers, stuff like that. So anyway, that's the background on these. And they're larger cards. So if you look at like a regular size like card here, they're a little bit larger. But these ones specifically are silhouettes of musicians. So this one is Beethoven, you got Mozart, and you've got Wagner. Now, as I collect these, I just write down what they were, the date of them. So this is 1901 Liebig, and these are the composer's silhouettes. And I do have, there's 3 other composers in here. I'm gonna put like these one touch, or not one touch, but these soft cases on the ones that I thought were nicer. All right, so we've got, these ones are a little bit cooler than those. These are composers, and these are 1893 Liebig composers set. And so you typically get these in a set of 6, I believe. We got Mozart, we got Beethoven, Bach, Wagner, Verdi, and Mazzini. That's the 6 that you get. So you'd buy like one of the products and you get 6 of these cards. So you get all 6 of these, I believe. when you bought like one of their products, right? And so a lot of times if you look for these on eBay, you'll see like the set, and that's mainly what I've been trying to go after. Now, people are grading these nowadays, so they'll buy like singles or sell singles, especially if they're like higher grade. Like you can look at some of the backs of these, they're not great. These probably came out of an album or something. I don't necessarily grade cards. You know, maybe at some point I'll grade some of these. It might be kind of cool to get them in a SGC holder or something like that. But this is another set that was listed individually where I didn't win all of them, but I think they're in a little bit nicer condition. And like I said, like you're gonna see two usually variations of these is like the whole set just listed as is. And I think I got this one from a seller in Europe, and I'm probably rambling a little bit at this point, but they did come out in various countries. So there's different versions that you can chase. Like I think there's a German release, a French, and maybe a Dutch release. I may be wrong about that, but anyway, I just wanted to grab those. I thought those were pretty cool. These ones are well-known poets, and so this did come in a set of 6. This is the Shakespeare, which is a very early Shakespeare card. Now, is it the first Shakespeare? Probably not. But this is 1898 Liebig, famous poets. And you had 5 additional ones in there of, I don't know, Voltaire. I recognize his name, but the other ones I didn't really familiar with. But the main reason I bought this set was for the Shakespeare. And we've got some Stolwork. Okay, so go check out Collector Not Hoarder. He goes over Stolwork. I actually bought an album of Stolwork. So a lot of times when you would get these cards, so Stolwork is a chocolate company. You'll see down here, chocolate. They had albums they provided that you could put these cards in. I think this is, I put it on the back here. 1898 Stolwork Album 2 Composers. Okay. So I think I actually bought this lot from him on eBay. So if you're watching this, yeah, thanks, man, for sending these over to me. This is not the first Stolwork that I bought, but I'm trying to put together the Composers set at some point. I bought some off ComC and stuff. But yeah, these are cool ones. You got Wagner. This is another Wagner. This is out from album 1, though. And you can tell they're a little bit different. I think this is Haydn, Joseph Haydn. And who is the last one here? Weber. Yeah, pretty cool cards. All right, so we've got a little bit more Stolwork. And these, I believe, also came in a set of 6 when you bought chocolate products. And so Stolwork Chocolates actually was a German-based company. And I believe they sold in other countries eventually. So you can see like these are all have German on the back. Now this is from album 1. Yeah, okay, so in 1897. I think I mislabeled this other one. 1898. I don't know, I'll have to go back and look. Anyway, these are cool. Okay, so these are Benjamin Franklin. You had Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Edison. And this one kind of makes these a little bit more collectible. You'll see some graded copies of these as well. These were famous figures, I guess. But I will go over my album that I got. I got album 10. And so I don't think I have any album 10 cards in this lot. But album 10 was really cool. So I'm going to come out with a separate video that talks about that whole album, and we'll just look at it. I was going to show it here, but it's so hard to maneuver that album. It's kind of big. I've got this like light ring or whatever so that you can actually see these cards, and I don't even think it would fit under it. So I got to figure out another way to do that. Maybe put it near a window or something. Anyway, we'll get that figured out. But next up, I got these 1928 Salem cigarettes, and this was a German release. This was a German tobacco card, essentially, that you get in tobacco packs, and I've got 4 of them. And now these are 4 of the 5. I'm remembering from Collector Not Hoarder's videos going over these cards. These are 4 of the 5 backs. And so you can see here, I believe they list the backs. Do they? Let's see. Maybe they don't. Oh, yeah. Jasmati. You've got Salem, Josetti, and then this back, Salima. Okay. And this is like different products that they had. I think this one is being the rarest, I believe. I don't know, according to Collector Not Hoarder's video. But yeah, cool cards. I don't remember what I paid for this lot. I think it was on Probstein or something. But yeah, just cool to have the various backs. Am I going to chase backs of cards? Do I chase backs of cards? Not really, but you know, I wanted one of these, and it's cool to have 4 of them now. Okay. Next up, 1934, Shirley Temple. This is the earliest known Shirley Temple card. Now, why do I care about Shirley Temple? Well, my mom was big into Shirley Temple. She's actually the one that got me into cards, and she regrettably passed away in 2018. I did share like a lot of my collection with her when I got back into it, but she was the first one to buy me Garbage Pail Kids in 1986, got me into baseball cards, got me into basketball cards because of that. She was always a big Shirley Temple fan. I do have some other Shirley Temple cards in my collection. There's a 1934 US release. No, I'm sorry, it's 35, I believe. Which, I don't know if you could consider that one the rookie card for that release. No, we call these rookie cards. Are they rookie cards? They're not athletes. But a lot of times when people list these cards, they put that in the title just because it's like the first known card. First known card, who searches for that? People search for rookie cards. So if you're like searching for the first card of like an actor or an actress or well-known political figure, you can put that in your eBay search and probably pull something up. I think that's more recent. Probably nobody cared about quote-unquote rookie cards of non-sports before, I don't know, who knows, 2019 or 2020 or whatever. But anyway, really cool pickup there. All right, we'll try to go through some of these quick. I know this is a long video. If you did stick around for this, thank you. These are a bunch of Duke & Sons cards, the Great American set. And this is from 1888. Or at least that was the time that they started issuing these. We've got Stephen Girard, Horace Grant. Is this the William N? Oh, sorry. Charles Sumner, civil rights advocate, I believe. Washington Irving. Let's see some of these backgrounds. Like he was a New York Tribune, so the background has like a newspaper there. Put me on the spot, and I forget what these guys did, but they're all. It's kind of cool. I collect this stuff because I can go back and look at like what they did in their life. You know, just go to the Wikipedia page and kind of pull up what these people did, and it's kind of interesting to see what they were most famous for. Just because of that, and that's why I like these a lot of times, is that I don't necessarily collect them because they're valuable. It's just, hey, it's a cool set. These are all lithograph cards, so the printing technology would have been they printed each color in a separate layer. I find that interesting. I find it interesting to look up the individual that they feature. We all know Benjamin Franklin. This one is awesome. This one's more desirable from the set. So you can see they do actually label 1888 Duke Sons and Co. Sorry, I was calling it Duke and Sons. It's Duke Sons and Company. And this was the tobacco card set. Now this one is authentic, minimum size not met. I doubt that means trimmed. Probably not, because who's going to trim a border? They're just miscut. I mean, this stuff is the late 1800s. The cutting technology back then probably wasn't great. So I'm just happy to have the card. High grades of these can go for a lot of money. I'm just happy to own the card itself. All right. We're getting to the last cards today. Again, thank you for sticking around. This is a longer one. I just had a lot to cover, a lot of pickups. These are 1925 liters of men Ogden cigarettes. This is one of the first non-sports sets that I put together. I go back and I still have like an eBay search, I think. So I do pick them up when they come up in graded form, or just maybe as a second copy that's a little better than one for my set. I've got Constantine. We got an Edison here. And then we got this Isaac Newton with the awesome hair. I think I posted this on Instagram a while back. Look at that hair. That's awesome. So yeah, that's it. That's my Mail and Hobby Talk, episode 18. As I always remind you at the end of these videos, if you did enjoy this, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It does, in fact, help me out. So once again, I do appreciate you watching these videos, supporting the channel. Comment down below anything that you were impressed with from my mail or not impressed with. Any topics that I covered that you have questions about or comments about. Always like to listen to people's thoughts on things. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.